Ooh. All right. That was a lot of work. Fast all the way forwarded. But here she blows. Almost finished. I got some wiring to do for the coin door. Yeah. Here's the coin door looks like. Oh, here's the artwork. That's the virtual pin Flynn Williams mashup. This is my janky. I couldn't find something to fit ultra wide, but so I fused two together. We'll see how it looks. And there's the wiring. So we got our 5 volt, 12 volt, another 12 volts, a 24 volt, and then a 5 volt, 40 amp or 50 amp or something like that for the addressable LEDs. All of them are Meanwell, all of them UL listed. So good, some power supplies. And then we decided to mount the board for the addressable LEDs. Forgot what that's called. Not a teensy, but it's the other option you get from Arnaud's Tiny Tools. Works real good. Oh wow. So I just put in some solenoids for the flippers and the slingshots, and then contactors for the bumpers, middle and back. And we have this large exclusion zone here, and that's for the pivot. So we got the pivot nuts or pivot, yeah, whatever you call those things. So the TV can pivot up. And yeah, got a couple vendors in here. This board right here came with that carcass I bought off of eBay. So it's Oak Micros ripoff, developed in China. But what's nice about it is this nice PCB layout. And then there's some more 12 volt outputs here if I needed them, but we'll see. Oh, there she is. DIY special. Virtual pinball machine. We're talking custom, ultra wide. Well, somewhere between wide and ultra wide. So it's not quite ultra wide, but just a little bit bigger than wide body, because we wanted to fit this 49-inch LG OLED gaming 4K. A back box. This is the flat pack from Virtual Pin. That's how we wired it. To make everything look nice. We wanted quick disconnection points. So right here. Bang. Easy peasy. Got these legs and leg protectors from pinballlife.com. Fire engine red. Pops. So I just gotta work on getting the side rails ready. I have a set of raw, unfinished side rails, so they're gonna be painted fire engine red. Get those on, and then I gotta finish the lock bar. I got the lock bar button mounted. in a configuration, ready to go. Just need to drill a hole into the lock bar and place a button. And then nope, I need to do some configuration. Looks like probably just need to do a little bit of masking back there so I see daylight. And then yeah, I'm gonna try to reuse as much as possible from that carcass. This is how it turned out. So far, so good. All right. We got a stern or spooky pinball coin door, no coin mix. And this thing, we got, look in here. I don't know why we could just lift that thing up, but that's how it'll look like normally. Everything that needs to be gotten to is right in arm's length, and then there we go. There it is. So next thing to work on is the hinging. Make sure everything looks good from there, so that this thing will hinge up and stay in place. Yeah, that's it. And testing. Lots of stuff to test. Here is the final, before I lock everything up. It is the Oak Micros board that has been, I don't know who made this, or if it was done by someone else, or they go over there in China and they take it and they make it their own. But it works real good. Cleveland design software, the solenoid extender boards, life extender. So we got 3 of those bad boys. We actually have 4. There's one in the back box for the knocker. Here, something of my own creation. I don't know if you can see that. That's my own little board, my coin door interface board. DIY. Yep. So here's my coin door. It's a spooky pinball coin door with the volume. So we needed to do something with that volume, so we added this Arduino so that it can interpret the rotary encoder, and now we have easy volume, easy peasy volume. All right, nothing to remember. Here's the computer. We're talking, well, as you can see, RTX 3070, i5 12600, 5600, something like that, 12600K. The unlocked one, but we don't overclock it. So straight, all base. 850. Is that platinum? Yeah, platinum. And then we have this is actually from Pinball Life, so it's a spooky 8-inch sub. Works real well. This is what I used on my other the ALP pinball, and it's a 4-channel amp by knob sound, or DOUK audio, same company. Works well for the surround sound. And then we have the tried and true Leppy amp for the back box speakers and the amp. And here we have the external USB sound card, because the motherboard, I'll turn it around. The motherboard does have 7.1 audio out, but I don't know if you can see that, but it is, sorry about that, but it is very noisy, meaning the amplified audio going through the speakers is picking up all the noise coming out of the motherboard. So you hear the crackling noise and stuff. Using the external USB audio, same configuration, that noise has gone away. Here we have the plunger, so Cleveland Design Software plunger. We have the flipper buttons and the MagnaSave with the Arno's RGB LEDs, so they light up. Okay, all of these are clear, light up with DOF. What else is here? You have 10 solenoids. The reason why I have these here is because I can't say I'm lazy because there's a lot of work, but I didn't feel like putting them back, moving them up there. If I ever run into some issues, I'll move them up there with the others. But slingshots are there. Right, these two are there, and then the others are right there. So in the recommended positions. I did find something out on accident, right? You notice there's nothing holding it up, holding up the playfield, right? It's just right here. So I put this thing, that bar back there, because I originally had the solenoids there, but they were so low, I didn't like, they weren't really giving me good audio feedback, or they weren't loud enough. So I putting them right underneath in that orientation was much better. So I had this there, and it turns out that just having that there based on just how the physics is, right? It's a natural stop, right? And it doesn't hit the backboard. I mean, I would say we have about 7 inches, 6.5, 7 inches before it hits the back box. So it's perfect. Enough room to work around, do all your stuff. It doesn't come down. You don't have to mount anything special. So, if you're building something, that's an idea, right? You don't need to put this all the way back. You could just use these, just a little bit on the side, a little bit on that side, a little piece on that side, and it's a natural stop. And as you notice, we have the hinged playfield design, so we can take it off, right, when we need to, and everything is disconnect. We have quick disconnects. So Cleveland Designs quick disconnects. I did this little Minifit Junior Molex quick disconnect, and then the power comes out, HDMI comes out, and we're good to go. Yeah, we have here, so these are the things that you normally see on these little cases. It steps back, right? So those are holding. This here is one thing MJR Pinball Net didn't talk about, right? And that's what happens if you ever have to move this, because the pinball thing comes up, right? And it comes up a certain way, but then there's still a little bit, maybe half inch or an inch gap between the top of the playfield and the glass. So if you ever tilt it one way, if you're moving it, then the playfield can come up, right? So came out with this thing. It's a hood latch, and this is where it latches. There you go. Keep it down. So yeah, so I'm gonna button it up. I think I need to talk about anything else. What else is in here? There's my tried and true, all the way in the back there, the smart power switch. Always use that when you turn on a PC. it turns on the computer. It turns on the power supply. When the computer power supply comes on, it turns on everything else. And then likewise, when the computer goes out, it turns off everything. The only thing that stays on is these USBs. And that's because the, I forgot what it's called, motherboard setting where, you know, it allows some power for USB wake up is on or is not disabled. So it's not disabled by default and you have to disable it. I didn't disable it because once you disable it and then this thing comes out from a no power, like the, you know how like the Saint Smart, when you turn on the Saint Smart, it does it turns on the flippers and the solenoids, it turns on all the outputs or some of the outputs. This thing actually does the same thing if it comes out of a no power state. But if it's in this rest state or whatever state it's in, it doesn't do that, so you don't get that loud bang. So I chose to go that way. We'll see if I made a mistake. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, everything looks good. Hardware-wise, I think we're done. We can talk about this circuit later. All it is just some connectors to interface. So we just soldered some connectors down. I don't know if you can see that. All right, we soldered some connectors down to interface with the coin door thing, so we didn't have to cut. None of these wires are cut. I guess the only wires cut is this gray wire because it was super long. I didn't need it that long. And then we just interface on the other side. We interface with the coin door power, right? Just providing 5 volts from the computer. And then this is our, what do I call that chip? Arduino chip that we programmed and that's open source code you find on GitHub or whatever the website is for Arduino. And you plug that in USB and now you can control the volume, easy peasy. Otherwise it's standard, right? I'm gonna put the playfield down, and I don't think I'd be able to do it with one hand, so I'll be right back. Okay, fixed a couple things. All of our lights work now. All the lights.